So the first thing you need to realize is that you're not lonely because you have no friends now. When I was around 13 or 14 years old, back when I started high school, I used to be like the most unsocial piece of shit ever. In other words, I knew nothing about making friends, right? My strategy, matter of fact, of speaking to strangers and speaking to new people was just so like... Okay, I'm just gonna tell you exactly what it was, right? I'll just find a random group of students in my class. We're having a conversation. I would bust into them as they were talking. I would interrupt their little talk with a phone in my hand. Just imagine this is a phone, right? I would interrupt their conversation completely. Pull out my phone like this, like straight into their faces. And I would always say something in the lines of, look at this funny ass meme. Look at this meme, it's so funny. I just hope you're better than that, right? I just hope you're not at that stage, but to keep it simple, nobody gave a fuck. Literally nobody. I would maybe start one conversation once in a while, but at the end of the day, it would just feel so odd, as if I don't belong, you know what I mean? I wasn't in the space where I wanted to be. I wasn't in the right place. And when I'd come back home, the only real friend I had was the kid that lived next door, but besides that, nothing at all. Recently, I was thinking through all of these events and I quickly realized, like, wait a minute. I wasn't feeling lonely because I didn't have people around me. No, I had fucking several, right? I had my whole class at school. I had other students. There was a fuckload of people, but the issue was that I didn't feel accepted around those people. I didn't have that sense of belonging, this warmth that comes with a great like friend group. And that's the issue, my guy. Most people, myself included in the past, as I just told you, we used to surround ourselves with people that we didn't really belong to. You know what I mean? We would surround ourselves with people that, just for the sake of surrounding ourselves with people. It wasn't about who we actually want to be friends with. Back in the day, I used to be so fucking lonely that I just wanted to be friends with somebody. So I would just surround myself with these people that were nothing like me. And at the end of the day, there was zero benefit to it, right? Because deep down, they didn't care about me at all. So that's the lesson you should learn, my guy. You can feel very fucking lonely around multiple people. But you can also feel fucking amazing when you're on your own. And that's exactly what we're going to talk about today. See, the thing with loneliness that most people get completely wrong, in my opinion, is that they see it, they picture it as like this entity that's drilled, stuck inside of their mind. But personally, I like to think of loneliness rather as a hole that needs to be filled with another entity slash thought slash whatever. Let me explain, because your boy came in prepared for this shit. I even bought a whole whiteboard to explain this concept. It's fairly simple, but I feel like once you're able to understand this, it can genuinely save you like multiple, like, I don't fucking know, months, years of pain, if you're actually going to understand this. So loneliness, it's more of a period. Think of how people describe loneliness for a second. When you feel lonely, how do you really feel? How would you describe that period? I don't want to sound like a boring fucking psychologist, right? I'm a 16-year-old bozo. People describe loneliness as like this cold, empty period, because that's exactly what it is. It's cold, it's dead ass, it's lonely, but it's empty. It's like a void. Think of loneliness as a void. It's like you feel empty. When you're lonely, think about this shit. When you're lonely, you feel like you're missing something. And for most people think that they're missing friends, right? But you're missing something. And what do you do when something is missing? You fill that fucking hole. Imagine you have like a canyon, a hole in the ground, and you pour water in it. You get a beautiful lake instead. That's exactly how you should manage that feeling of loneliness. Don't just sit there and indulge in that thought that, oh my God, I'm so lonely, bro. Don't just stab yourself even further with the knife, because you're gonna end up doing more harm to yourself. And that's not what we want, right? We're actually here to solve the issue. So just look at this one more time, right? I call this fucking the lake analogy. I just came up with this myself, right? That's how you should look at it, at least in my opinion, right? You have the total right to disagree with me here, but That's how I look at it, and that's the way that helps me manage it. And from what I've told you, this also helps others manage it. So this isn't some bullshit, right? Actually, write this down. Remember this if you want to, because you don't feel lonely, as I just said, because you have no people around you. You lack warmth. You lack this acceptance. And the reason why we feel so amazing around a very good friend group is that we are able to get into a social flow state. I've explained multiple times what a flow state is on my channel. I don't think I want to repeat myself, but to keep it simple, it's a state of mind in which you have zero distractions. That's what a flow state is. It's when you're studying and all you're focused on is the book that you're studying, is the fucking task that you're doing at school, whatever. When you're speaking to people, social flow state is when you're only focused on the conversation and you have zero thoughts in the back of your mind demotivating you. That's what a social flow state is, right? I just want to keep it simple. But the reason why we feel so amazing around a good friend group is that when the friend group is genuine and we actually like the people we're around, that flow state suddenly becomes 20 times easier to access. But as I just said, with studying as an example, you can access that flow state in many, many different ways. Because when we're not in the flow state, where are we? We're in our mind. We're overthinking. We're stuck in our emotions. And what happens when we're stuck in that emotions? Same analogy I just told you. When you're sitting there and you indulge in that thought of loneliness, the more you overthink it, the more power you're actually giving it, the further you're pulling the knife inwards instead of pulling it out. I don't know if that's what you should do when you get stabbed, but you get where I'm going with this shit, right? Don't look at loneliness as an entity. Look at it as a whole. But oh my fucking god, this is a blooper. I don't think I'm gonna cut that out. But how do we feel that whole? As I just said, find a way to put yourself in the flow state. Now, as I said, I don't know if I actually mentioned this before, but you should not use this video as an excuse for you to not go out of your way and socialize. It's 20 times better to have the 1 or 2 close friends that actually care about you, rather than be on this lone wolf grind of trying to enjoy your time on your own, because you should know how to be alone and not lonely. But that's not an excuse for you to not go out of your way and meet new people, because at the end of the day, we are social human beings. We are meant to live in tribes. We were meant to live in groups. So when you go on this lone wolf fucking arc, whatever you want to call it, you're doing yourself more harm than good. Because I've actually done something similar, right? I'm gonna bring this story one more. I'm gonna bring up a story which happened just a couple of months ago that I had to learn the hard way. I recently shaved my head completely. I mean, my hair's growing out from that point, but back in around March, February, I shaved my head completely, and all I wanted to focus on was this very channel, was this business. I remember at the time I was at around 100 subscribers, probably even less, but I was determined to blow this shit up. And I uploaded every single day over the past like 6 months, I think. I started uploading in fucking December, and right now it's July, and look at this shit. Look at how fast we're growing. We already have a video that's on the edge of hitting 500,000. Okay, that kind of over-exaggerated, but the point that I'm trying to make is that I was so stuck in that process of working, yet I didn't feel lonely. You know, this is the catch about this whole video. I didn't feel lonely in that time period. I actually felt very fulfilled. I was achieving the goals that I wanted, you know, I was making progress with YouTube, with my business, all of that stuff. But then, when summer came around, and I wanted to become a social animal again, things went downhill. Because social skills and speaking to other people is that type of skill, because it's a skill, by the way, that when you don't practice for a certain amount of time, you start to lose that ability. It's like when you're playing a sport. I mean, I'm pretty sure you can tell by this, by that. I love sports. Basketball is my favorite one, and I've been playing it for like 2 years straight. When I don't play basketball for like a week or two, I completely forget everything. I miss every single jump shot. I miss every single pass. Shit gets tough from that point. And it's the exact same thing with speaking. When you unsocialize yourself and you become like this social outcast and you stop speaking to people, you're putting yourself at a massive disadvantage, because when you're gonna be in a period in which you want to speak to people, when you're done with your fucking lone wolf arc and you actually want to socialize, you'll find it very, very tough the longer the break is. The longer the lone wolf period, I guess you want to call it, the more you struggle with social skills because you haven't been practicing it. If I were to talk, if I gave you a challenge to walk up and speak to the next girl you see on the street, guess what's gonna happen? You'll be like, what the fuck? I don't want to do that. Like, that's weird. I don't want to fucking do that. Of course you wouldn't. Of course you wouldn't, because you were using this video as an excuse. I hope you weren't, but you get where I'm going with this, right? Okay, it's been like, what, 10 minutes since I started recording, and the brain rot's already kicking in, so I don't want to waste your time. But to quickly recap all this, wait, let me pull out my fucking notes, because I actually came and prepared with this shit. Loneliness is not caused by your lack of people around you. It's caused by the amount of warmth and acceptance you get from the people around you. And the way you get that, as I've already said, is you get yourself in a flow state. I could put this in a way of find your purpose, but that has to be like one of the biggest like bullshit on the internet that I've heard in the self-improvement niche. I should probably make a video about this, but just find something that you like to do. Even though this advice is boring and mainstream, just find something that puts you in a flow state. It can either be social flow state, which is meeting new friends and speaking to new people, or you can try something new, try some activities which will put you in a flow state. But with this option, keep in mind, don't neglect the other one. Don't choose one over the other. Being alone and not lonely, it's a very, very, very useful skill, but it shouldn't be the #1 option. That's at least how I like to look at it. Second point that I made in this video, loneliness is not an entity / thought that's stuck in your head. Rather, it's a hole that needs to be filled with another entity. Same thing as I just talked about, right? This. You can take a screenshot if you want. I genuinely think there's a lot of value in this, and you definitely want to remember this. And at the end of the day, is there anything that I else written down? No. I really find it fun. Just like a thing on the side. Like, I literally told you that I use a script for my videos, right? But guys, this is a random rant, but guys often when they record videos, you know, they sit in front of the camera, they talk, they do all that stuff, but then you can just see their eye contact like rolling down once every couple of few seconds. I'm not gonna name drop these people, but I've seen it hundreds of times, and it's a pain in the fucking ass, because I've seen this with like the biggest content creators with the niche. This happens very often, so this is a random bonus part that's completely unrelated to the video. But next time you're watching a guy who's trying to be similar to me in my niche, just look at how after every single sentence, their eyes are gonna roll down. Most people, they try to cut it off, but you can still see it. I'm not name dropping people. Actually, the one guy I can think of who does this isn't even in the niche that I'm in. He's a fucking fitness channel, but no name dropping. I'm not trying to start beef, but yeah. If you enjoyed this video and you ended up getting a lot of value from it, and you didn't click off in the last 3 seconds of me talking about YouTube, click all the buttons if you want to. I'm not forcing you to do anything, but I genuinely think that if you're looking for a community of like-minded people who are trying to become the best versions of themselves, whilst you're interested in stuff like psychology, social skills, mental health, I think that my Discord server is the perfect place for you. Matter of fact, okay, this is another random thing on the side, but fuck it. Last time we did a voice call, it was like a group call. It was so crazy. We even had people doing backflips on camera. I'm not fucking bullshitting. We had people like doing fucking backflips on camera. How crazy is that? Yeah, okay. Not gonna waste your time anymore. Click all the buttons if you want to. Join the Discord server if you want to. Hopefully I'll see you in the next one, brother. And yeah, take care, bro.